August 3rd, 2011. It's been almost 6 months since a United States aircraft carrier has been stationed in the Persian Gulf, but that's about to change as Carrier Strike Group 10 steams for the Strait of Hormuz. The USS John C. Stennis and a handful of guided missile cruisers has been called to the region to assist Oman and the United Arab Emirates with an increasingly volatile counterinsurgency operation on the Musandam Peninsula, as suspected Iranian-backed Islamists continue to disrupt the region violently. Operation Exigent Riviera kicks off as the group passes through the strait. In the meantime, the supreme leader of Iran has threatened military action against the carrier group if it enters the Persian Gulf. However, this is seen by experts as mostly saber-rattling for the benefit of the domestic political situation in Tehran. Even if the insurgent groups are being funded by the Iranians or some faction within, a major kinetic conflict with the US and her allies in the region would be a major mistake.
From lead. We'll wait for the boat to finish a turn to port, then launch from Cat 2, fly heading 270 at 500 per 7, then turn to waypoint 1 and climb to Angels 20. From there, we'll fly a cap from waypoint 2 to waypoint 3 until Enfield 41 is on station to relieve us, sometime around 0700. ROE is weapons hold.
Well, I don't think I could have put it any better. Nope. Welcome aboard the USS John C. Stennis, and welcome aboard my FA-18C for the first mission of the Operation Exigent Riviera campaign. Link for the campaign will of course be in the description per usual. I'm just going to get going with the startup here, and then I'll go a little bit more into the campaign. Also using a downloadable checklist here. There will be a link for that. I find it tremendously helpful. So for before start, parking brake set. Anti-skid is set up for the carrier. Wings are, master arm is safe. Wings are not folded. Alright, in that case, battery comes on. Brake pressure, it's about 3,000. Do fire test A and listen to bitching Betty with her southern drawl.
Engine fire left. Engine fire left. Engine fire right. Engine fire right. APU fire. APU fire. Bleed air left. Bleed air left. Bleed air right. Bleed air right.
Alright, leave that off for 10 seconds to let the tape reset and then do B. I'll probably omit the startup from future missions, but I am, as always, open to input when it comes to that sort of thing. So fire test B.
Engine fire left. Engine fire left. Engine fire right. Engine fire right. APU fire. APU fire. Bleed air left. Bleed air left. Bleed air right. Bleed air right.
Sounds good to me, so we'll start APU, shut the lid. And once we've got that light for the APU, that is, make sure the strobe light's on bright. Come on. There we go. We will crank the right engine. Once we've got 15% RPM, which is there, bring that throttle up to idle and wait for that engine to stabilize. And while it's stabilizing, well, I guess I already gave something of an intro to the scenario of the campaign, and my character's voice gave something of an intro for this mission, but in short, the USS John C. Stennis is transiting the Strait of Hormuz. There's the Omani Peninsula over there, and Iran would be over there. And we are flying minimum combat air patrol during that time, but still wanting to make our presence known. So we are Enfield 3-1. We'll be relieving Enfield 2-1 on combat air patrol for about an hour, and then we'll be relieved by Enfield 4-1. But that's engine 2 stabilized, so I'll cycle the bleeds and do the lights test. Radios. They're already on and now set pretty much how I'd like them. We'll get all this stuff turned on and then configured once they come on. APCD. Yeah, we'll flick the INS to carrier alignment. Alright, DDIs are on, so left-hand DDI goes to FCS, right-hand DDI goes to IBIT, which is already on. HUD is on, and that's already on the map. Make sure it sets a map mode rather than HSI. I find having the actual moving map on it to be thoroughly useless because you can't see anything else, but that's just me. So that's ready. We will spin up the left engine. There's 15%. And bring that throttle up to idle as well and wait for it to stabilize. And while it's stabilizing, what else can I mention about the mission? I can cue this up so you can sort of see what's going on here. We take off and fly to waypoint 1, and then our cap station is between 2, which is here, and 3, which is here. Those are the only waypoints we're actually using. The rest of them are to draw a line here to denote the boundary of Iranian airspace, which we should not cross under any circumstances, and which any Iranian aircraft crossing, well, if any Iranian aircraft do cross it, they shall be intercepted by us as expeditiously and professionally as we can possibly manage. And I believe that's our left engine stabilized, so I'll hit the reset button for the FCS, make sure all our X's go out. And then flaps come up to auto. OBOGS comes on so that we don't get into a hypoxia situation later in the flight. Radar can go to operate, although it does have a basically a ground safety, so it doesn't cook anyone with radiation while we're still on the deck or on the ground. Wing folds, we have to spread and lock to do our bit tests, and I'm pretty sure we have enough room to leave them down and locked and to get clear of my wingman and get over to catapult 2 there. I don't think that'll be a problem. And there's the APU shutting down, and once those are unfolded we will do our IBIT tests. So down Y for the FCS bit switch and hit the button, and that'll go to its in test setting, and we should hear the beeps in a second, or 2 or 3 or 4. Anytime now, don't make a fool out of me. There we go, at which point our flaps can go to half. We can whack the takeoff trim button. Got all our 30s and 12s, but I'm actually going to do our elevator trim back to 16. Should be adequate since we're nice and lightly loaded with just 2 sidewinders, 2 AMRAAMs, and a belly tank. There's no way we're above 44,000 pounds. I could check it, but I can't be bothered, even though it's just on another DDI page. Anyway, wing fold can stay as it is, and our left DDI is going to be set to the HUD. Right-hand DDI will go over to the FCS page. We will uncage our standby attitude indicator. We will set the altimeter. What's our altimeter setting today? 2945, which is kind of shockingly low considering, I don't know. Around where I live, if it were that low, you'd expect there to be some probably bad things happening. But who knows? I've never flown in the Persian Gulf IRL. Obviously have in DCS. Altimeter. Radio altimeter, we'll make sure that's on, and I'll set it to a nice low setting so it doesn't beep at me after takeoff. There's probably a setting I'm supposed to have it at. In fact, I know there is for landing, but we can figure that out later. ECS mode. Auto. Bingo. Is 2,000 pounds for this mission. There is a full set of data cards that is included with all these missions. I'm sure we'll see those later. TACAN. Actually, we'll see them now because I need to check what my TACAN for the carrier is. Okay, 37 X-ray. Transmit, receive, X-ray. That's all good, and that also does have our bingo fuel right here. But I'll go back to my checklist for now. TACAN is on. HSI is basically already set up. All of our electronic warfare stuff. Right, we'll flick our IFF and data link on. Also get our radar warning receiver on. ECM can go to standby, and I usually put the dispenser to bypass just so I can do 1 chaff, 1 flare each on their own button, because I don't have that many HOTAS buttons on the old X55 to go around to really be setting up programs, but that's kind of up to the viewer. I will omit the 4-down check because it's a simulator. Everything is probably going to work. Set the INS to nav. Arm the ejection seat. Whack the emergency brake off. Nose wheel steering is on. Wings are already spread and locked. Yeah. Air brake is in. Hook is up. That's all looking good. And I think we're ready to head to the catapult. So, oh, but one thing. Not going anywhere. Get the chocks in place.
Copy. Wheel chocks are now removed.
Alright, let's move. By the way, this is version 1.5 of the campaign. Version 2.0 supports the Super Carrier, which I do have, but I don't get very good performance with it, so I figured if I were recording it, I might have to make the little concession of using the old potato Stennis in order to have a video that's vaguely watchable. Also means I have to use the external view to hook up to the catapult, unless I'm being very clever. We'll get that vaguely into place, whack the launch bar down, and I guess hit U to hook up to the catapult. And that's now about ready. I'm actually going to hit TACAN on here so I know my distance from the ship, because we're supposed to stay at 500 feet on carrier heading until we're 7 miles away or so. But anyway, we'll run up to mill power, should be all we need for our launch today. And here we go! Alright, off the deck. Make sure to bring that nose up, and bring the gear up, flaps up, and climb up to level off at 500 feet until we're roughly 7 miles away, and then we'll proceed to waypoint 1 and be ready for our cap. Now that I'm done with the checklist, I'll actually whack this over to my mission data card. Whoops. Aviate, navigate, communicate, damn it. Fly your airplane first, especially when you're this low. Ooh. I'll throttle back a bit too, so when my wingman launches, he can kind of catch up without using burner for too long. Because DCS wingmen like to burn up all their fuel. Especially if you're in a short-range aircraft. Like, oh, been flying the MiG-29 a little bit lately. It's like, you gotta babysit them if you don't want them to burn up all their fuel immediately. MiG-21 can be the same, although, I don't know, I feel like doing the Brezhnev incident, I was getting pretty good fuel economy out of the MiG-21, but that's what happens when one studies one's performance charts, I guess. You can get a surprising amount out of that airplane. I'm sure I'll be doing more with the MiG-21 in the future, but it's this for now. And we're coming up on 7 miles, so I'll hit waypoint, and we'll turn towards waypoint 1. Wheels up, jolly good. You should be able to catch up without too much trouble then. And on my left-hand DDI, I'm going to call up the FPAS page on the subject of fuel economy, because I'm just so wonderfully poetic with my commentary. Because I think I'll fly our best range speed. Fly best range speed rather than best endurance speed, so that we have a little more speed to play with if we're suddenly under attack, but we can still save some fuel. It's less than an hour-long cap, so I'm really not too worried about fuel economy, but put on some pretense of being worried about fuel economy. So the mission data card, I believe, has us climbing to 15,000 feet for waypoint 1, and then 20,000 feet for our actual cap station. No. I won't worry too much about that 15,000 foot benchmark, but 20,000 feet for cap seems reasonable. I don't know if this has the contrail altitude anywhere. Because if I were just, oh no, in a situation where I really wanted to conserve fuel, I'd fly as high as I could without contrailing, because that's just a bad idea when combat is underway or probable, and do max E or max range as appropriate. Thank you. He's discovering that, yes, the Iranians do have SAMs all along their coastline. Who'd have thunk it? Oh boy. But we should be checking in at waypoint 1, and then I might cut the video after that. I did play through this campaign before, by the way, about a year ago in an earlier version, not too long after it came out, and really enjoyed it, which is part of why I wanted to feature it on the channel. And also I wanted to get back into the F-18, because I enjoy flying it, and wanted to get back up to speed, because the Raven 1 campaign by Baltic Dragon is coming out kind of soon, and I kind of want to play that when it comes out and not be awful at it. Don't know if I'll do an actual playthrough of that on the channel in the foreseeable future, but I plan to fly that campaign myself anyway. Whoop!
Checking in at waypoint 1 as fragged.
And there it is.
Enfield 3-1, fly direct waypoint 2 and establish cap. There are several civilian aircraft in the Bandar Abbas area as well as Iranian Air Force, Foxtrot 5, Echo Cap. Do not cross into Iranian airspace marked by waypoints 4 through 10. ROE is weapons hold.
Civilian aircraft near Bandar Abbas, you don't say. Looking at you, USS Vincennes. But anyway, we've been cleared to waypoint 2, whereupon we'll establish our cap. And I will probably cut until at least then, or until some point of interest should make itself known. So that's that, I suppose, for now. So I'm a little ways further into the cap now, and one thing I wanted to point out that this mission does really well to illustrate is, well, just how little room there is to maneuver in this area. Because I'm just making my right turn to do the racetrack pattern towards waypoint 3, and, you know, the line's right there. We came within a couple miles of crossing it. 323 for 40, eh? Well, I'm not intrinsically worried about any of that just now. So obviously we've had plenty of Iranian aircraft show up on the data link, but we're not too worried unless they cross the line. Doing periodic mode 4 interrogations on any unknown contacts on the other side, which contributes that identification to the data link pretty nicely. 214 for 45. So yeah, it's sort of straight ahead and a little bit actually outside the area in which I'm looking. Oh, that'll be the one. Huh. That's kind of heading that way, isn't it? Let's do 80 miles on that for now. Well, I guess he's sort of paralleling the border, so we can not necessarily worry too much about that. What about these guys over here? Let's make sure we're interrogating those. Yeah. Okay, I think we've got proper contacts on all of them now. Number 1 there is kind of heading for the border, so we'll see about that. But he could turn. That could just be part of his cap. Yeah. As you can see, this also has the threat rings for the SAMs in Bandar Abbas.
Enfield 3-1, contact. Singleton F4, Bulls 002 for 50, heading 190 at 10,000, continue cap. ROE is weapons hold.
Aha!
Copy that.
I think buddy number 1 there might actually be some cause for concern. Alright, well, we're in a pretty good position to intercept if he has a crack at it. We'll just keep an eye on him. Because if he does cross, I'm sure we'll be ordered to intercept pretty much immediately. Yeah, pretty much perpendicular to us, lower, possibly a little slower too. Well, our first catch of the day. And is that him? Yes. I think so. Alright. Well, if we do get ordered to intercept, I'll probably soft lock them with the radar. That would be a pretty helpful tool, and then try and come up behind them in a somewhat standard intercept, although I'd be lying if I said I was particularly good at those and knowing really what the benchmarks are for them. He's getting close. I think he's going to have a crack at crossing the line there. Fun. The UAE, Oman, and Iran all claim the entirety of the Strait of Hormuz as their own territorial waters, by the way.
Field 3-1, IRIAF Singleton F4 is leaving Iranian airspace on heading 190 at bulls 358 for 40. Turn to intercept. ROE, weapons hold.
Alright, let's go after him.
Enfield 3-1, Wilco.
I was saying, they all claim it as their own territorial waters, but basically every other country on Earth disregards this and regards them as international waters. Bogey dope? I don't think I need bogey dope. I've got him on radar and on data link. So that should be okay. Keep him in the corner of my head there. Yeah. He's at about 10,000 feet, they said last time. 12.5 now, I guess. Master Arm is going to stay off unless we're actually told to shoot something. Bump that radar antenna down a bit so we can still pick him up. I'm periodically losing my soft lock here.
F4 on guard. You're entering the operational area of the USS John C. Stennis. Turn heading
Visual.
360 immediately to avoid any dangerous operations. How copy?
Oh, he's way slower than me. This will be fun. I'm gonna get the boards out.
Darkstar, Enfield 3-1. The bogey is not responding.
Copy that. Enfield 3-1, move into close formation intercept with the F4 and use hand signals.
Roger that.
Wilco.
Creep up on his right. Still got about a 50 knot speed advantage. I gotta slow down. He's gonna be doing about 270, I guess, 260 in that vicinity. And it's alright that I've lost my radar lock because right close now. So I'll just get a slight speed advantage. I'll bump my speed up to about 280. And I'll form up on his right and make sure he can see me from his canopy. 280 knots, yeah, that'll do. Well, I'll actually soft lock him again because that gives me the relative velocity. Actually, no, I won't because he's right at the bottom. I can do this all visually. Lots of smoke from those J79 engines. So, didn't have too much difficulty spotting him, partly in thanks to that. I guess the Iranians also have MiG-29s, which are also quite smoky, relatively speaking. All their Western aircraft, like F-4s, F-5s, and F-14s, I guess all U.S. aircraft in that case, are obviously from prior to the revolution and have been kept in service out of spite, more or less. Probably using indigenously produced copies of their principal weapons, although they've actually been making their own fighters that seem to be F5s. Oh, he's turning left. Let's see what's on his belly. I see a Sparrow and 4 Sidewinders. Oh, and there's a carrier down there. He's getting kind of close, but he doesn't have any anti-ship weapons, so unless he's stupid enough to try and strafe them, I don't think we're really going to have any problems here. Alright, keep in formation. Oh, and stay behind him. Alright, now move up beside him now that he's leveled off. 200. Whoop, 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 whoop. Cobb the power back. Well, well, well. Hello, gorgeous.
Iranian F4 on guard. You are entering the operational area of
Someone take a picture.
John C. Stennis. Turn heading 360 immediately to avoid any dangerous operations. Repeat, turn heading 360 immediately.
What he said. Or what I said, I guess. Eh. AIM 9s with black noses, so they're AIM 9Ls or AIM 9Ms. I suspect they don't have AIM 9Ms or domestically produced copies, obviously, I guess. Here. He told you to turn, you'd better do what the man says. I guess, where's the carrier? Basically off our starboard beam. Not too far away. Keep my eyes on this fellow here, though. This, chappie who's trying his luck here. I think that's an F4E, I want to say. It's got that cannon in front. So it's an E model or later. He's got a belly tank on it. Well, well, well. Obsolete, but elegant. And not entirely useless. We can just stay here and dance with him, and I can demonstrate that I'm actually not terrible at formation flying. Oh, there he goes. Finally decide to call it a day there, bud, or are you just doing another 180? Well, we'll follow him and find out.
The bogey is turning north.
I guess that might
Copy
be my
that.
answer. Ooh, he's slowing down.
3-1, make sure the Bandit returns to Iranian airspace. They reestablish cap at waypoint 2.
Roger.
3-1.
Ooh, turning right. Don't run into me, buddy. Well, like the man said, we'll accompany them back to Iranian airspace and then resume the cap at waypoint 2. 200 knots, crikey. I haven't had my HMD turned on because, but that would have been actually helpful when I was doing the formation flying to have a handy speed readout, but whatever. I suspect he'll stall at a higher speed than I will. He's probably got a little more wing area, but I've got straighter wings. I don't know actually how that pans out. Sure, I'd have to read a book to find out. Well, let's just stay on him, shall we? Keep oogling that rather appealing airplane. Shame they're still in super low-res ancient models in DCS, but those are getting replaced one by one. Like the F4 is still that way in MiG-23. Hopefully when the Razban MiG-23 comes out, which, fingers crossed, oh my god, that will get improved. Also B-52, Tu-95. Lots of things are still kind of ugly up close. But oh well. All in good time. Let's have a look in their cockpit. Two dudes with white helmets, not even anything fancy painted on them. Well, I don't know if the Iranian Air Force really are prone to indulging the artistic ways of their pilots or not. Oh, and we're getting pretty close to Iranian airspace, so let's turn the hell around before we start another international incident. And I'll call up waypoint 2. And we'll climb back up to 20,000 feet to resume that cap station. And I won't cut the video just yet in case anything else exciting happens, although the Iranians might have tried their luck enough for one day. Ooh. Oh, that's my wingman. It's like, is that F4 going to turn around and shoot a missile at my butt? Because I would be... I feel like that would be a breach of the divine trust that we created with that formation flight there. What am I saying? Anyway. He's not on the data link right now. Fascinating.
Enfield 4, airborne.
Oh, Enfield 4 is airborne. Well, that's our relief flight, so I suspect we'll be cleared to head back to the carrier pretty soon. I could talk about that, actually. Since I'm not using the super carrier, there is an LSO script separately running for the Stennis. I don't think I'm actually going to use it because it doesn't like the fact that I kind of fly unusually large patterns, so I have more time to get on speed and get in the groove, and it tends to just wave me off, so... I'll try and do as by the book as possible a Case 1 recovery on the carrier without comms, I think, is how I'm going to run that when we finally return. Speaking of which, still 37 X-ray on the TACAN. I was confused by this 74 thing. That doesn't seem to do anything, so I'm going by the one on the departure setting. I don't know if it has the ICLS setting anywhere. Obviously, we don't need it for a Case 1 recovery, but I do tend to turn it on anyway so that I can use it while I'm getting in the groove to make sure I'll be on glide slope when I roll out, basically, is a vaguely helpful thing to do. And we can slow down a bit. And heading. Say 1, 2, 2. And whack on the heading hold for now. And 0.7 Mach is an okay speed. I'll hit the auto throttle on that. And keep coming right. We're coming up on waypoint 2, and we'll probably be turning back towards waypoint 3 unless we get cleared to RTB right away. But it'll probably take a minute for Enfield 4 to get up and get on station, so we'll see about that. I want to double check that the ICLS isn't anywhere, because I couldn't see it on here. GCI has command authority, goody. Intercept less than 125 feet. Well, we did get quite close, so that's probably okay. Milgard, Stennis. Oh, ILS is on channel 11, which is the default. I'll actually set that up then. Alright, oh, does that have my BRC anywhere, or will that actually partially use the supercarrier comms? Maybe it will, I haven't actually tried it. That'd be really handy because one of the best things about the supercarrier is the ATC system for it that works quite well and gives you the prudent information, and we need to turn right now. Aviate, navigate, communicate, with focus on the navigate in this case. And come on, disengage the autopilot. I need to kind of crank through this turn if we don't want to cross into Iranian airspace there. So, called up waypoint 3. And the carrier is basically adjacent to waypoint 3 at this point, since it's been moving at a fair clip. And wingman's still keeping up, even in this tight turn, alright. No problem there then. We can roll out on about 280. And I'll hit barometric altitude and heading 280. And use my autopilot continuously like a lazy bastard. BRC. Did that have a BRC? No. Hopefully I'll get that from some odd source then. Worst case scenario, you can grab it from the F10 map by seeing what heading the carrier is on. Where's Enfield 4-1? Ooh.
Contact bearing 291
Yeah, 291 for 45. That 1-2 there. Yes. They're sort of paralleling the boundary of Iranian airspace, so I guess that's not a problem. Oh, ATC's flashing for me there. What's that? Oh, there we go. That's the auto throttle, by the way. Now, I haven't cut the video because I'm anticipating that we'll get cleared back to the carrier soon, but I might be being made a fool of in that assumption. Carrier is on. There we go.
41 is assuming cap. You may RTB.
All right, where's my comms?
Is RTB.
Stennis.
Push to right.
Yeah, 1275. So to right. Okay, we'll contact the carrier. In that case.
On station at Bull 048 for 35 at 7,000.
Marshall 013. Marking Mach
Using at least some of the supercarrier comms.
0.17. Angels
Cool.
21.5. Holding hands.
Well, let's get descending, shall we?
Low state 7.5.
I'll get more of this stuff configured. Hey, it is using the supercarrier comms. Great! Perfect. BRC 233. Well, that gives me everything I need to know then. Well, this should be fun, because then I can use at least some of the benefits of the supercarrier while not suffering the performance loss from its actual 3D model. Oh dear. Need to get down in altitude really quickly here. because I need to call them at 10 miles, and I kind of want to be more or less set up by then. Let's get the hook down. I think everything else is set up. Yeah, anti-skid and bypass, that should all be good.
Altitude. Altitude.
I'm assuming I'll get a signal of Charlie, meaning I can break straight into the pattern instead of having to marshal, since I don't think there's any other traffic near the boat right now. Enfield 3-1 would have landed forever ago, so. Oh, and just past 10 miles.
013. See you at 10.
See you at 10. Cheeky bugger. Level off.
013. Low state 7.3.
Get that up to 350 knots and 800 feet. It's close enough. I'll whack in the auto throttle just to reduce my workload. On the way in. Now, I was having a little trouble. Where's my wingman? When I was in the past, when I've been doing carrier operations, where despite giving my wingman the kiss-off command, which should have him break into the pattern later, he still does so in front of me. So I might actually try and fly a smaller pattern and see what that does. Or, although, where is he? Oh, right behind me. Okay. Hook is down. Did he drop his belly tank? No. Why did I think he did? Anyway, getting close to the carrier. Hook is down. I will verify more than once because I frequently forget. And just about see the carrier from here. Getting a slight stutter, which is unfortunate. Deck looks clear, but we'll be able to see it from closer.
013. Overhead Angels 1. Holding hands with 014. Low state 7.3.
He's burned more fuel than I have because my state's 7.8.
013. Power, roger. BRC 233. Signal is Charlie.
Alright, BRC 233.
013.
And signal is Charlie. So BRC hasn't changed, and I'm cleared to break into the pattern here. So that's all good. And the deck definitely looks clear. So I'll give him the kiss off. And I'll break into the pattern at about 1 mile. I like to give myself a little bit of room to get on speed because it still takes me a little while, but that'll have to do. So boards out, auto throttle off. Ah, off I say. Oops. I'll bump this down to 10 miles. 250 knots, gear and flaps can come down. And I'll get on speed quick, since I didn't give myself a huge amount of room. But that is a slightly more realistic pattern. I think more often they break directly over the ship, which is like bloody impressive, but there you go. Alright, so we'll let her drop down to 600 feet and get on speed. And I'll flick the ILS on so I can demonstrate the little thing that I like to do to use it to get on glide slope when I'm getting into the groove. And see if I can get a visual on my wingman, because sometimes it seems like he tries to land on top of me even with the super carrier comm system, which I think should prevent that. Anyway, come into a 30-degree turn. No more than 30 degrees, otherwise we'll be narrow in the groove, in my experience. And the rate of bank tends to get away from me, so I really need to be careful about that generally. And 90 degrees, we can begin the boat. I can actually probably more or less carry on with this turn right, maybe shallow it out a little bit. And ILS has not come on. Maybe I was given not so true information about it, but oh well. We're supposed to do this visually anyway. Now, am I high or low in the pattern? I'm not even seeing the ball. I think I'm low. Yeah, I am low. Okay, well, we'll get in the groove here. Ooh, power, power, power. Plenty of power. Yeah, more than a little low. Cold ball.
013. Hornet ball 7.6.
Ooh, now we're getting in the groove here. Ooh, don't let that nose drop too much. To come right just a little bit to be on the center line, and bring her down a bit, stay on the ball, and that was a bit rough. One wire. I seem to get a lot of one wires. I should probably be debriefing that sort of thing a little more often, but we'll get out of the way. Oh my god! Wave him off, please! Whew, yeah, he did wave him off. Okay, give me a miniature heart attack just there. Ugh. Okay, mission success. And I think I'll forego the shutdown since I already did the gratuitous startup, and it's basically just the same thing in reverse. So, actually, the fact that he was right behind me there probably means I was still too long in the groove. Oops. Maybe I should have him RTB on his own in the future. That'll probably space us out decently. But anyway, I hope Mission 1 was reasonably enjoyable. And I should be back with Mission 2 reasonably soon. And that's about it, I guess. Thanks so very much for watching, as usual. And toodles, I suppose.